Elite Pro 7, Erica Dale out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And we have two very, very important guests on the line, two medical professionals. For those of you that don't know, we have over 1,000 medical professionals as distributors of LifeVantage. It is pretty impressive that that is happening. I have been in the company for almost 4 years, and that number just continues to grow. Made me go back and want to get my PhD in nutrition. No, totally kidding. Has nothing to do with that. But I'm excited to hear from these two doctors this evening. So I'm going to bring on one of them first and then bring on the second one to kind of close this out. You guys make sure you are muted out. You've removed the distractions. Get off Facebook. Shut down Instagram. You don't want to miss these nuggets that are going to be thrown your way this evening. So first and foremost, I have Dr. Rebecca Glasser. And you guys, in case you've never printed anything out from your phone, I feel like I'm 90. This is what happened. So I'm going to read her bio really quickly. I want to make sure I get everything out there. She is actually certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery. So she is a plastic surgeon, you guys. She's been practicing plastic surgery for almost 20 years and specialized in breast reconstruction. She's trained at the University of North Carolina. At Chapel Hill. That was where she went for medical school. She went back to the University of Florida at Gainesville for surgery, and then back to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for her plastics training. Her first job was at the University of Florida in Jacksonville as an associate professor teaching residents and medical students. Super exciting. And her practice now today focuses on anti-aging prevention, and non-surgical plastic surgery. So Dr. Glasser, I don't know where you are. If you want to unmute yourself and just take it away.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Go ahead and just take it away, you guys. You're going to want to take these notes here.
All right. Well, hopefully I'm covering what you all want to cover. We're going a little bit off the cuff this evening. But, you know, one of the main things that I wanted to cover today was talking about our flagship product, which is Protandim Nerf 2. And it's part of the Protandim family. And as you're going to find out in Long Beach, we're going to be extending out that Protandim family as we're continuing to discover new science. But let's start off with just the flagship product and talk a little bit about the science behind Protandim Nerf 2 and where it all started. So the first thing I want you guys to learn about is what we call oxidative stress. And you know, doctors, we like our fancy words. And so oxidative stress is really a fancy word for our bodies rusting from the inside out. So think about it. If you took a piece of metal and you left that metal outside, that metal would rust. Or if you took an apple and you cut that apple in half, that apple would turn brown. So those are examples of oxidation. And unfortunately, you know, the same thing is happening to our bodies as we age. We're constantly bombarded by toxins, things like sunlight and pollution and other toxins in the environment. But what we've learned now is that even good things that we do in life, I'm out here in Colorado, and if I go out hiking or biking or skiing, I'm still increasing oxidative stress, or think of it as free radical damage. And so the idea behind this originally was, how do we address that? Because oxidative stress is important. So in the medical community, one of the main places that we go to look at studies is called the NIH, or the National Institute of Health. And you can go on there, if you just Google in NIH, you can go in there and you can type in the word oxidative stress. And what you'll find is that there's more than 200,000 studies on oxidative stress and how it is related to every disease and to every cancer. I mean, it is such an important thing. And so when we were first looking at this, Dr. Joe McCord was studying oxidative stress, and he was studying free radical damage. And the first study that was ever published on Protandim basically said, you know, all right, so Erica, if I give you Protandim for 30 days and I measure your oxidative stress or your free radical damage after 30 days, we can show that it actually reduces oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days in 100% of humans. And that is so important and so important to understand, because we know oxidative stress is really involved in aging, is really involved in disease. And the idea that we can reduce that by 40% in 30 days is a huge thing. So then the studies went on and said, well, okay, how does it do that? And so again, if you stick with NIH and you look at PubMed.gov and you type in Protandim now to the search bar, what you'll find is there's now 26 peer-reviewed studies on Protandim Nrf2. So think about it. We as a company, our products are classified as vitamins. Now, we don't think of them as that. We think of them more as activators. But do you know how amazing it is to have 26 peer-reviewed studies on a nutraceutical or on a vitamin product? It's unheard of. And that's why you'll see Dr. Nettles and I on the call tonight, because we as doctors are so excited that we will have so much science backing our products. So let's get back to Protandim Nrf2 and let's think a little bit more about this. So what in the world is Nrf2? So Nrf2 is a little protein messenger, and it's inside your cell, and it's running around the cell, and it's looking for any sort of insult or injury. Where in layman's terms, think of it as it's running around the cell looking for any fires. And when it finds that fire, it goes back to the command center of the cell, or what we think of as the cellular nucleus. And it turns on a set of genes called your survival genes. All right, so you don't have to be a doctor to know that survival genes are a really good thing to activate. We all want to activate them. There's about 400 or 500 of them that we know are activated. And those survival genes are pretty cool, because think of these survival genes as things like antioxidant enzymes, all right? So antioxidant enzymes are so important because I think of them like little Pac-Men, and they're going around and they're gobbling up all of those free radicals at a rate of 1,000,000 times per second. So that goes back to that whole idea of oxidative stress. How are we reducing oxidative stress? Well, we're doing it by turning on these survival genes and turning on these antioxidant enzymes. So what other things are activated? Well, your anti-inflammatory enzymes are also activated. So think about that one, inflammation, is that a buzzword these days? Do we all hear about inflammation and how it's affecting our bodies? If we go and work out really hard, what happens? Well, our muscles become inflamed. We hurt 2 days later, right? So can you imagine being able to reduce that inflammation by turning on all of these good enzymes or good guys within the body? So again, let's go back to our model. We're turning on survival genes. We're turning on antioxidant enzymes, anti-inflammatory enzymes. We're sending out all these good guys within the cell to put out the fire, all right? So Nrf2 is just activating a pathway or something that naturally occurs in your body to activate it and get it going again, because it's not working quite as well as it used to. Now, along with this whole Nrf2 pathway, there's other pathways within the body. So the other thing we want to think about is the Nrf1 pathway. The Nrf1 pathway, we have another product for. It's within that Protandim family. It's Protandim Nrf1. That Nrf1 pathway goes to our mitochondria. So if you've got any 8th graders in your household, that's what they're studying. They're studying about the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. It's what produces energy, or ATP. It's your motor. It's like putting gas in the tank of your car. So as we age, those little mitochondria, they don't work quite as well. They get diseased, they get damaged. And so when we activate the Nrf1 pathway, are those little mitochondria getting more energy. And in addition to that, we ourselves can feel that energy. We have more energy in the day. And I don't know about you guys, but I know for sure for me, when I passed that age 40 mark, that was one of the things that declined. I didn't have as much energy as I used to. My cells weren't working as well. All right. So we have these two products. They both are synergistic. Each does different things. We have Protandim Nerf 2, we have Protandim Nerf 1. We have a number of other products within the LifeVantage family. I mean, probiotics, omegas, other things in our vitality stack. But we're super excited because, you know, as Erica talked about, coming up in Long Beach, we're just about to launch another product. That product is Super 7. It's a code name. But again, it's part of that Protandim family. So as we're activating these anti-aging pathways, we're about to activate another one. You're going to learn all about it in Long Beach. And for those of you guys, I know we have Team LifeVantage here on the call tonight. So we have people from Team Heart, but we have people from all kinds of teams across the country, including my team, including Dr. Nettles' team, and including a lot of prospects that are here just trying to learn and be educated about some of the products that we have. So stay tuned and make sure that you let the person that invited you to the call tonight teach you more about Super 7, because we're getting ready to launch it in Long Beach. I'm part of the scientific advisory board, so I am sworn to secrecy. But we are super excited about the pathways that this is going to activate, because again, it's part of that pathway. So Erica, with that, I hope that I gave a quick summation of Protandim Nerf 2 and some of these Protandim family products.
Yes, yes, yes. And I saw a couple of the comments. You guys dropped some comments in the chat and just, you know, thank Dr. Glasser for her time. But what did you get out of that the most? I mean, I know I saw someone post that you really nailed it in layman's terms. And I think that's what a lot of people need, because we're not all doctors. We don't all have that education. And so I think hearing it, you know, how the pathways are activated and what that does for the body and what that does for recovery and lowering inflammation, it's just huge for everyday living. So thank you so much. I appreciate you hopping on here. I appreciate you taking time out to be on here, and hopefully the rest of you guys did as well. So we're going to move on to our second guest speaker tonight, Dr. Dondee Nettles. You guys, if you have not heard his story, it is incredible. So I'm going to let him delve into that a little bit more. But a little background on him: he's a former wellness chiropractor and AM talk radio host. You'll hear that when you hear him tonight. You definitely have the voice of radio. He is a member of the International Chiropractors Association, the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, and the National Chiropractic Research Foundation. Dr. Dondee has had the 4th largest solo chiropractic practice in Arizona. You guys, that's pretty huge right there in itself. And he was seeing at one time 350 to 500 patients per week. That is a lot. That is a lot of hands-on activity. He sold his chiropractic practice to become a stay-at-home dad and a home-based global entrepreneur with LifeVantage. And he has a perfectly blended family with his beautiful wife, Marcy, who is a former police detective and sergeant. Pretty power couple there, if I do say so. Together, they have 4 great kids, 2 grandkids, and they're very passionate just about equipping, elevating, empowering families to create a global legacy to achieve their dreams. So he's going to hop on here and kind of give his background, why he decided to, you know, join this company and the products that we have. So Dr. Nettles, I will let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erica. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
Great. Well, I have to be honest with regard to how I joined LifeVantage. I will say I went very reluctantly because I wanted no part of network marketing for many, many years. And not because I had tried it and been unsuccessful, but nobody that I knew that had ever tried it had been successful. And I thought it was what you do right before your parents kick you out of the basement when you have to become an adult, or it's what you do when you can't get a real job. So I was very jaded with regard to my understanding of network marketing. In fact, when I saw LifeVantage, I didn't even know what LifeVantage was, to be quite honest. I had taken Protandim and had many of my patients on Protandim before I even knew who LifeVantage was. I was buying Protandim and they were buying, my patients were at GNC for about 3 months before I ever knew who LifeVantage was. But I had a sign on my door to my practice that said no soliciting and mentioned 2 network marketing companies by name. One of them rhymes with Tango. It was a pretty popular one in my area, and they were the ones that keep coming in. So I didn't join LifeVantage. I would say that I got backdoor recruited, but it's the best personal and professional thing I've ever done. And if I had it all to do over again, I wish I would have been able to do it 10 years before I was able to. So that's my story with how I joined LifeVantage. But I really am excited to be able to share a perspective of why, as you mentioned, there's over 1,000 doctors that are part of the field distributor force. Why is that? It's something because every doctor that takes an oath, we have an oath to first do no harm. And second is that we take a legal and ethical oath to do everything within our power to help our patients. And that is, once we get educated on something, the ethical responsibility is on us to share that information. And what I found out about Protandim, and it wasn't even called Protandim, the NRF2 Synergizer, when I found out about it, in fact, nobody was even using the words NRF2 at the time. It was just Protandim is the remedy for oxidative stress. And because of my background in chiropractic and being a radio show host, I needed to find a way to explain what this was to people that asked me. And I mean, I knew what it was, and I want to kind of go back, that the science is what really caught my attention, and how during that 12 years of becoming, or 12 years of being very jaded against network marketing, I used PubMed as my ally. So when somebody would come in from some company, and chiropractors it was almost like some days I felt like I had a bullseye on the front of my shirt that said, go market to this guy, because especially a successful chiropractor that sees lots of patients, is going to get hit up by a network marketing company that has anti-aging or wellness-based products of any kind. It has been that way historically. And so when somebody would come in with a product and say, this is the greatest thing, I think it would really help your patients, which was their approach. Most of them, to their credit, would say that they wanted to help my patients, but that I could make a lot of money doing so. And I wasn't looking to make money. I was looking to spend time with my kids, and nobody ever came with that approach. But when they would say they had a great product, I would get behind, would actually even invite, this is in the beginning phases. Let me just paint the picture. When I was open to being helped by network marketing companies because they sounded really good, they sounded very compelling, and they had great products, or at least they sounded like they were great products, I would invite them behind my desk, and I already had PubMed was saved. This was before I was an Apple guy. This was back when I was a PC guy, but don't hold that against me. But I had PubMed saved, and I would open it up and say, how do you spell the product? And I would type the name of the product in there, hit enter, and every single time for 12 years, 3 words would come back: no results found. So my simple response to them is like, wow, it sounds like your product is great. However, the people that I look to validate products don't think as highly of it as you do. There's no science behind it. And imagine if I were your doctor and I said, you should really take this product because the lady who came in yesterday who gave me this brochure said it's amazing. I think you would probably run. You should run to go find another doctor if I came at you with that approach. I can't leverage my reputation. I can't leverage my goodwill in my community on selling something that you say is great, especially when there's no science to back it up. And their response was, but it's got cinnamon in it, and cinnamon has lots of research, or it's got XYZ, fill in the blank. So it was borrowed research. Yes, ingredient-based research, there is some merit there. But if you put one ingredient in a product, and now it's a compound product, it doesn't mean it's going to be good, even if it has an ingredient that said it's great. So there was never any finished product science. And there's a massive distinction between ingredients science and finished product science. And so that was always the way to have them leave my office. And I would always tell them, when this changes, when you do have a finished product study, come back. I would love to try the product myself and maybe perhaps share it with my patients. So it was always a great way to politely ask someone to leave, the ones who ignored the no soliciting sign in the first place. A couple people I had to call security on. But that was, as a doctor, I had a moral obligation, an ethical obligation, and in my opinion, a professional obligation to share what I knew about LifeVantage. And that was nothing except about Protandim. So when my patients would come in and I would assess them and find out what it was going on, I would send them to GNC to go buy Protandim because of my experience on it. Well, then we got to be where they were having a problem keeping up with inventory. And interestingly enough, it was right about the time I got a call from Blue Elam, who is my sponsor in this business, and tried to share some information about this wonderful Ayurvedic product. He was marketing it as an Ayurvedic product, and he, as a firefighter at the time, didn't even know what that meant. But I said, no. And I said, what is it? And he said, Protandim. And I said, no, it's not. And he said, yes, it is. And I said, no, it's not. I've been taking Protandim for months. It's not Protandim. And he said, yes, it is. And that's when I was like, you got to be kidding me. They're going to backdoor me into this network marketing thing. And I was livid. And they sent me a plane ticket. I flew to corporate headquarters. I had lunch with Dr. McCord and asked him directly about the product, which I didn't know there was any science. I didn't typically look for that kind of product because it wasn't the network marketing sold product at the time. It was at GNC, and it was helping me personally. And so I had some patience on it. Well, this is where everything changed. When I sat with Dr. McCord, I understood the vision of where LifeVantage wanted to go. And I had a moral obligation and ethical obligation to share with everyone about the merits of this product. I came back a different person. I came back distributor number 114 in the entire company. And a year later, I sold my practice because I looked at the size of what I was doing in my practice. We were helping 350 to 500 patients a week, only in my town and only when my office hours were open. And every single minute my office was open was a minute away from my family. And so I had a huge vision, but I had limitations to my vision. We'll call it golden handcuffs. And I had the ability, and here was the interesting thing. Patients who could benefit from my services sometimes couldn't afford it because this was right at 2009, 2010. The economy was starting to go down and people were losing their jobs. And if you don't have money to benefit from care, you don't partake of that care. And so I looked at the reality of, I have this amazing opportunity to help people financially and help people with their health, which that's already my wheelhouse, but I can do it with a team of people that this is going to go global. We were only in the US at that time. And I thought, and I prayed about it, and it met every one of my criteria because it has product-based science, great people at the time where more people are needing these types of products than ever before in recorded history. And more people are needing a financial hand up than ever before in recorded history. And this looked like the best amalgam of things for me. So a year later, sold my practice and have been a stay-at-home dad ever since. And the difference is my office overhead was $23,000 a month. And this overhead is minimum. I think you should look at it from a minimum of 200. But if you quickly add up all the products that benefit you, it's going to go, but it's never going to get anywhere near $23,000. So the ability to help people with this opportunity and the ability to help people financially and with their health, my practice could never rival, or could my radio show, which is why I got rid of both to do this full time. And it's now 24/7, but I really want to get into why this was so powerful for me. Because, and I would use this analogy with patients when it would take talking about oxidative stress. Oxidative stress still to this day, even in 2019, is not something most people have heard, but they understand the principle. And I say, what do you think of when you hear the words oxidative stress? And most people would go oxygen or stress, one of the two. It's like, yes. Okay, let me ask you a question. What would happen if you took a fish and took it out of water and put it on the top of the table? Do you think it would undergo some oxidative stress? And you kind of watch them go, well, yeah. But there's plenty of oxygen in the air for that fish to breathe. It's just the wrong delivery system. So how about you jump into a pool and go to the bottom and try to breathe. There's plenty of oxygen in that water. You just have the wrong delivery system. And so it's but we can fix that. Put some scuba tanks on your back and jump in the pool, jump in the river, jump in the lake, jump in the ocean, and you can breathe. It's just not as efficient. And then I would say that's the difference between supplementing and activating. It's the delivery system and efficiency. Why would you want to supplement something with good ingredients when you can activate your body's system that deals with oxidative stress rather than trying to supplement it from the outside and remedy something that is deficient? Why wouldn't you want to activate something that has gone dormant? And that's when people get it. That's what they understand. Uh-oh.
Well, I'm still on.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Can you still hear me? Just lost the video.
Someone shared their screen, so let me see if I can get them to stop sharing their screen.
Okay. I'll just
Somebody's
keep
trying to
talking.
get it.
So it just
There
comes
we
back
go.
down to the delivery system. And once we understand delivery system, once we understand what oxidative stress is, now it's a matter of helping that person understand, why would you want to breathe with a tank underwater when you can just breathe air? It's the most efficient way of getting oxygen. Well, protandem, NRF2, is the most efficient way of getting oxygen to your cells in the least stressed environment. So people understood, and it was not a very difficult conversation to have with people, but it was now coming down to the science. And here's something that was medical professional to other medical professional was a much more difficult ladder to climb because of the science that wasn't there. They would say, you know, well, even though there's 26 studies, to some it's only 26 studies, but it's 26 more than anyone else, which is a feather in our cap, and we will always be first for that. And I look at where network marketing is in the understanding of oxidative stress and where the world is in the understanding of oxidative stress, and they're the same, because the world still doesn't truly understand oxidative stress and the benefits of reducing it, even though you see pomegranate juice commercials on TV. It's neat, and they understand what antioxidants is, but once they understand the principle, and we have to dumb it down. And this was my difficulty talking doctor language to other people. Doctor to doctor, they get it. They're just not yet willing to jump on board as a collective. We have 1,000, and that's 1,000 more than probably most other companies out there. But the masses are still waiting for the publications to come out, and they're coming. That's where and it's real science. So PubMed.gov is legit, guys. You may not understand it. It may be written in doctor speak, but it's legit. It's true science. And the best part about it, we're not doing our own studies. It's third-party initiated and third-party funding, which is massive. The biggest thing for me with this entire thing is helping people understand that when you have a world that needs the products that we have, and you have a world that needs financial benefit, which we have, and you allow those things to get together in a technologically advanced, app-driven, social media-friendly approach, there's nobody that can be left out. It is there for everyone, and it's just a matter of how they fit in. Technology is changing rapidly, people's understanding is changing rapidly, and people using third-party tools is changing rapidly. And let me explain what I mean by that. 10 to 15 years ago, people were still using Encyclopedia Britannica to vet out information, and it would come out once a year. Now, when you're sharing information, like what we have, people, if they're not under the table Googling or vetting out what you're telling them real time on their cell phone, I'm a little concerned that they're a little behind the times. And that is where our company shines head and shoulders above every company. Is we're publicly traded, we're transparent, we're scientifically validated, finished product science, we're transparent. We have products like none other. Let me explain what I mean by that. We have a third activator coming out next month, but let me tell you about the two previous activators. The first one, NRF2, just happened to win this thing called the Elliott Crescent Medal in 1989 as the most powerful scientific discovery. Thank you, Dr. McCord. The second one, NRF1 pathway, 2 years ago in 2017, just happened to win the Ben Franklin Award, which is the modern day equivalent of the Elliott Crescent Medal for mitochondrial DNA. So our two activators have the most prestigious award in science given to them for products in those categories. Do you think our next activator is going to be something similar? I would tell you it is, because I don't know anything about it. Marcy and I are no longer on the field advisory board, but from what I'm hearing, it's going to be in line and perhaps even bigger. So that's just who LifeVantage is as a company. We have relevant products at a relevant time when there's finished product science and here's the benefit. Here's the greatest thing. We have finished product science, but the overarching science validates our finished product science. If you just look up NRF2, NRF1, 99% of that is not LifeVantage studies or has anything to do with LifeVantage. It has everything to do with the understanding of the pathway. That is our secret recipe. We capture a scientific principle, we formulate a product that deals with it directly, and we make it available to average people so they can have extraordinary and above average results and share that with the world. No other company in the history of this industry has ever done anything remotely like that, which is why this is the only company I'll ever be a part of, but it's also the only company that could have changed my over decade-long opinion of network marketing. So Erica, thank you so much for inviting me. Please share, whisper to Rachel so she can just whisper back. Thank you for inviting me on here, but it's been an absolute pleasure and honor to be here.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Rebecca, Dr. Glasser. You guys were phenomenal. Exceeded my expectations, and just, I mean, I've got chills. You know, this company just does it better, and it's just getting better, you guys. We're just getting started. So for those of you that are on the line, if you're brand new, like, this is the time. You should be as excited as the rest of us. Again, just to reiterate, you guys, Long Beach, California is in October 3rd through the 5th. And that new product, that Super 7 coated product, is getting launched there. So you need to be there. You need to be ahead of the game. You need to get your hands on the product. But again, thank you, Dr. Glasser. Thank you, Dr. Nettles. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. You guys, this call is officially a wrap. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Bye-bye.